Jeez, sorry.
Get you something to drink.
Do you guys mind if you use Mountain Dew or water?
No, that's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize for being a dick.
I tell you what, you were not. You weren't being a dick. Okay. I completely understand your position. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to at least talk to you for a little bit. Okay. And if you want to stop talking, of course that's your right, and we're not going to force you to continue talking to us. Okay. But I do appreciate that. It's very gentlemanlike of you to come over here and at least give us an opportunity to ask you a few questions. Okay. So as soon as this is my Captain Darkkirk.
Hi there.
How you doing, Darkkirk?
I'm Rich Fletcher. I don't know if I gave you my name. I told you where I was from over at the jail, but I didn't tell you my name. So.
Fletcher. All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You guys good?
We're good.
Yeah. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Let me help you.
Thank you, sir.
No.
Thank you, sir.
So, as we briefly discussed over at the jail, I did listen to your interview yesterday that you had with Detective Wilson a couple days ago, and I do appreciate your willingness to come in and talk about what happened, because it really not only helps the family, but it seems like it's helped you quite a bit to get it off your chest. So that's an advantage for both of us, I think. The reason we wanted to come down and talk to you, though, is because after we listened to the interview, there's just some things that weren't addressed, and it's not because they didn't want to talk to you about it. It's because they didn't know the whole case, because you came in and basically gave them the information about what had happened, and they didn't know any history of it. So, and because we're from Kelso, where it occurred, we have a lot more information about the incident itself that was never addressed the other night. So that's why we came down and wanted to talk to you.
Right.
Okay. During the interview, though, you gave them a handwritten note that you intended to send to us.
Yeah.
Does that look familiar to you?
Yeah.
Is that the note that you wrote?
Yes.
So you drafted that in your own handwriting?
Yeah.
Okay, and it was intended for us to have?
The family, yeah.
Oh, for the family?
And you guys, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that you handwrote that and signed your name to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it looks like you wrote that on the 17th. Is that right? 12 days ago?
It should have a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if it's okay with you, I'd kind of like to start by just kind of recapping what you talked about the other day. Is that okay? And the only reason I want to do that is just because I want to make sure I want to be clear, since I'm talking to you here in person, that's what you intended to talk about. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So during the interview, you discussed leaving Utah and flying over to Portland.
That's correct.
Okay. And it was towards middle of August that you flew there?
Yes, it was.
Okay. What's that? No. You haven't read your rights, correct?
I have.
Do you remember your rights?
I have the right to remain silent. I have the right to be represented by an attorney. I can't afford one will be appointed for me.
Let me go through the whole thing again, okay? I know you read your rights the other day, and I know you remember your rights, correct?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm reading to you again,
Right.
just for clarification, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to an attorney and have him presently while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, won't be appointed to represent you without costing before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise your rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. And if you wish to answer questions now without an attorney present, you have the right to stop answering those questions at any time. Okay, like I told you before. Okay? So again, this is your handwritten note, correct?
It is.
Okay. So back in August of 1994, you flew over to Portland. Do you remember what airline you flew?
I don't.
Okay. Had you flown much at that point in time
No.
in your life?
I had never flown in my life, except for, I don't think I had flown in my life at that point.
Were you working here?
I was.
Okay. Where were you working?
At the Horseshoe Express Trucking Company.
Were you a truck driver or?
No, I was Washington Diesels.
Okay. So were you laid off then, or were you still employed when you left here?
I don't know, to be honest. Actually, that might have not have been the time that I was employed there, because I was in Orange Street like a few different times. So I might not have been employed there at that time, but I believe I was. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I understand. And you flew out to Portland with who?
A guy named Scott Gray.
And who's Scott?
He was one of my friends.
Is he still around?
I'm not sure. Where is that?
Did he live here with you in Utah?
Yeah, he was in Orange Street halfway house with me.
Okay. Do you know how old he is?
He's probably 3 years older than me, maybe 2 years older than me, so he'd be like 46 or 47 now.
Okay. Do you have any family around here, or did you? I assumed you talked to him quite a bit since he was your buddy.
I don't know. I know he had an uncle that lived here, and that's all I know.
What was it? Do you know his name?
I don't.
Okay.
You said
So-
Scott Gray or Great?
Great, Grate.
So what made you guys decide to go to Portland?
We had a friend, Randy Davis, that had a cousin that lived in Kelso that said that we could stay up there with them.
And was Randy from here also?
I think he's originally from Washington.
Oh, okay. So do you know if he's still up there, or?
I don't know. I haven't seen him probably maybe 12 years.
Okay.
Saw him briefly once, maybe 12 or 14 years ago.
Where
It was in the Utah State Prison. Just barely passing, I saw him by the window. It would have been more like maybe 15 years ago, I think.
And he told you that he had some cousins up in Kelso or Washington that you could stay with. So did you say like you wanted to go up there and like hang out, or I mean, how'd that arrangement come about?
We didn't have a place to stay. Like we were gonna. Oh, we got dirty urines at like something not petty, like a dirty urine at the halfway house.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were gonna run away or whatever. And so we absconded from the halfway house, and he said that his cousin would let us stay there. I don't know, kind of.
Okay. So how did you get your plane ticket? Did you guys have money, or did someone buy it for you?
Yeah, we had a little bit of money. Like I got my last check, and Scott got his last check.
Okay. So you got into Portland mid-August,
Mm-hmm.
and who picked you up from Portland?
It was Randy's cousin and her husband, or her. I don't know if they were married. Either her husband or her boyfriend.
And you said it was Cal and
Sue.
Sue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what their last names are?
I don't know.
Okay. What did they pick you up in? Do you remember that?
I don't remember the specific car, but it was. Seems like it was an older, like one of them boat cars, kind of not a boat car, but you know what I mean. I don't know.
It's like a big sedan, big four-door car.
Yeah.
So they picked you up, and I assume drove you up to Kelso.
Yeah.
Do you know where they lived? Like Longview, out in the county, or in Kelso somewhere?
I don't.
Not sure.
remember.
Don't remember.
I don't remember.
So you stayed with them for a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
How long did you stay with them?
Probably maybe 7 or 10 days, maybe, or somewhere between maybe 7 and 10 days.
Okay. So how long did you intend to stay with them?
I don't know, indefinitely, or I don't know.
You're just going
I
to
was
obtain residency up there and just stay there?
more or less, but then I don't know. I don't seem to like get along well with people apparently for very long periods of time, so I was just going to come back home. And they dropped me off by a place where the train comes by, and I was going to try to jump on the train, but it went by too fast every time. There's no way I could have jumped on that train.
Okay. So, did you have like a disagreement with them or something, or why did you leave their house and go down and stay in the shop
It was
by the shed?
It wasn't a misagreement. It was me. Like I have a difficult time getting along with people, and so I told them I had to leave. and they were like fine with that, and yeah, so it was like a mutual thing.
So you just left on foot then?
They dropped me off by the train, by where the train goes by the river, by a river.
Okay. Did you have were you on foot, or did you have a bicycle, or?
On foot.
Did you ever have a bicycle? Did you ever find a bicycle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And any other transportation other than by foot?
No, not until I stole Mr. Bushy's car.
Okay. So they dropped you off at the train depot, and you obviously walked from there. How far do you think you walked? Did you walk around for a couple of days, or was it the same day that you found the shop?
I think it was like 2 days.
Okay. Where did you stay for those few days?
In the bushes by the river.
Okay. So when you left the river then to go, and you ultimately ended up at Bob's property, what took you there?
I was smoking cocaine with this guy, and I got all paranoid that he was going to beat me up.
You remember who that was?
I don't.
Okay, just a
No.
guy on the river?
Yeah.
Okay. So you left him then, and then just happened upon this property?
I was running through bushes. I don't know. I thought like all of a sudden him and a bunch of people were chasing me, and I was really like paranoid that they were going to attack me or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just running through all these bushes, and then I stopped somewhere to listen, and I laid there for a long time. Seems like it would not have been like overnight, all the way overnight. But then I got up and started walking again. And that's when I encountered at that shop.
So you talked about a big shop, a big shed-like shop, and then you had talked about a house and a travel trailer, and a big box van truck kind of a thing, and then a red car. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had mentioned, I think during the interview, that you had entered a shop, the big metal shop first.
It was a wood shop. Like I think it was made out of wood.
Could it have been metal, or you just don't remember?
Maybe it could have been, but I don't think it was.
So it was a pretty good size, right? Pretty big shop. Okay. And what did you do inside the shop there?
I was walked around looking at stuff, and then I was going to steal some stuff out of there. So I stopped. I put it by a door, by a sliding door,
Uh-huh.
and then and that's it. And that's all well I did in there.
So if I showed you,
Just a quick clarifying question. How did you get into the shop?
I think through a side, like there was a door that you could slide out a little bit or something.
Was that unlocked?
I think that was. I honestly don't remember. I don't think it was unlocked.
so if I showed you a picture of the shop, do you think you would recognize it?
More than likely, I would imagine I would.
Was there any refrigeration in there? Or any
Not that I know of.
fridge, freezer, or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
But you said there was some other property in there. What kind of property?
Like all kinds of camping equipment and shop equipment and like tools and things like that.
Is that where you got his tools that you ended up taking eventually? Okay. So the welder and the Dremel and the skillet side, it was called power saws or something.
And the what?
Power saws or skill saws or something. Didn't you see you took a couple of those too?
It seems like I took some other power tools, but I don't remember what they were.
But that's where they came from, was the shop. Okay. And you stayed there for?
I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days.
Okay. At what point did you finally decide to go over? I mean, if you were in that shop, you kind of knew that someone was staying in that travel trailer then, because it was close by. It was only 30, 40 yards away, maybe. Is that about right? So you knew someone was coming and going from the travel trailer.
I didn't know that they were living in there at the time, but then I came under the impression that somebody was, because it was like somebody was living in there,
Mhm.
like currently. So
Okay.
that time currently.
So at what point did you decide to go over to the trailer?
During one of the days when I was getting real hungry, I thought there might be some food in there.
Okay. So you decided to go in there and look.
Mhm.
Okay. You had mentioned before that you broke a window out to get into the trailer.
That's correct.
Okay. How did you break out the window?
I don't remember. I don't remember, like, if I put something on it and hit it, or I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember.
There was a welder's cap,
Mhm.
a welder's, like a head protector in the hole, stuffed in the hole. Do you remember anything like that? Could you have used something like that to cover your hand with?
Easily, yeah.
Okay. You're not sure? If I showed you a picture, it might recall memory.
I remember seeing, like, some welder caps, but I don't remember how I broke the window, regardless of whether there was something in the window or not. I don't remember.
Did you ever cut your hand when you broke the window? Do you remember cutting your hand?
I don't think so. I think I cut my hand during the struggle with the knife.
Okay.
Right there.
You still have a scar of that?
Yeah.
Oh. Mind if I take a picture of that? On your thumb, or
Yeah.
is that what you just showed me? That little mark right there? You think that was caused by the...
The knife closing on my hand.
Oh, during the incident itself?
Yeah.
How bad did it bleed?
I don't remember.
So, you broke the window out of the door, opened up the door, and went in the trailer. Was anyone inside the trailer?
No.
You remember the inside of the trailer?
I don't, not any more than it just being a standard trailer, like thousands of I've been in countless trailers.
Do you remember if it was like really well kept, or if it was kind of disorganized, or?
Kind of moderate, like not over clean or not over dirty, just kind of lived in, not like real clean or not real dirty.
Okay. I'm gonna show you a picture of the what I think is the shop that you were in.
All right.
And just tell me if you recognize it, okay?
All right. That easily could have been it, yeah.
Okay. That's
I
metal.
expected it.
That's made out of metal, so. But that's a big shop that was on the property where the trailer was. So, more than likely than not, that was the shop that you're talking about, correct? Okay. So you said it wasn't real clean, but
it wasn't dirty either. It was
Okay.
not that dirty.
so you got into the trailer, and was there anything in the trailer that you were going to take, or were you just looking for food?
At first, I was just looking for food, and then I thought there might be a gun in there or something. And I've been like into guns when I was younger, so
Mm-hmm. So what did you have to eat in the trailer?
a bunch of boxes of granola bars.
Okay. Did you make any food? Just ate ready-to-eat food? Anything else?
Not that I remember. I think that was it.
Okay. And I think you told Detective Wilson that you were in there for like hours.
Probably a long time.
So what were you doing in the trailer for so long? Were you sleeping, or just hanging out looking at stuff, or? Because that's quite a long period of time, to be quite honest with you.
It is.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember.
Yeah.
It just seems like I was in there for a long time.
Okay. Were you high then?
I'm sure I was, but not like, just maybe in a residual way from lack of sleep. Like REM deprivation, I was probably up. I don't know. From the time that I left I left Salt Lake, I probably slept 2 partial nights in like 20-day period or something.
Hmm.
Even though I didn't continue using drugs after I left Sue and Calvin. I was probably just, still kind of gone mentally because of rim deprivation. I would imagine that had an impact. Not that it's an excuse or anything, but that's just like a legitimate thing. Like you could take into consideration in considering my frame of mind at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it takes away from their responsibility, but absolutely that would have an impact on, you know, everything, whatever would happen.
So I assume you didn't have any spare clothes because you left Calvin and Sue's place. Did you take any clothes? Did you find any clothes to take with you?
I don't know. I don't think I did.
Okay.
Unless I took some clothes from that I brought from Salt Lake, maybe.
How about any gloves?
I don't remember having any gloves at all.
Okay. Where did you find the hammer?
I think it was just I think it was inside of the trailer somewhere.
Was it just laying there? Or?
I think so.
So it was kind of an impulsive.
Yeah.
You said that you saw Bob come home.
Yeah.
So were you
the
just
first thing that I
because okay, because you kind of knew that he was going to find you in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you, I mean, what was your frame of mind then? You just like didn't want to get caught. So did you know you were going to attack him as soon as he came in the trailer?
That's what I thought, was that I would hit him and then take his car and leave.
Okay.
I didn't think that he would be able to, like, it didn't even seem to faze him. The hammer didn't even faze him.
Okay. I think you told me I think you told Detective Wilson that you hit Bob in the head.
Yeah.
So he was facing you when you hit him with the hammer, correct?
Yeah.
So do you know for sure where you hit him?
In the head.
Okay, because there's a really big gash on his eye, just beneath his eye. Could you have hit him there with the hammer?
Maybe.
Okay. So you said when you hit him with the hammer, it didn't faze him at all. It probably just made him mad.
Probably.
So what happened right after you hit him with the hammer?
He kind of charged toward me, and I saw the knife on the ground, and I grabbed it really quick, and he was like tackling me, and I pulled out the knife as quick as I could out of the case and everything and started stabbing him.
So you said it was a Leatherman tool.
Yeah.
So are you sure of that, or you just think that's what it was?
It was either a Leatherman or a Gerber multi-purpose tool.
It was definitely a multi-purpose tool. It wasn't a folding knife,
No.
but it was in a case.
Yeah.
So you actually had to take the case open, remove the device, and then open it up.
Yeah.
So a Leatherman tool is you have to open it up and then take a blade out of the handle itself. So you had to manipulate quite a bit. Do you remember doing that?
I do.
Okay,
Like, just briefly, it was like getting tackled and like just super fast. I don't know. It's like, who couldn't even imagine it, but that's exactly what happened.
Okay. Was he hitting you?
No, he was like tackling me, like with his arms. So there were no blows being thrown. He was like just coming at me, and then I actually was able to reach down while he's like pushing at me. I opened it up, believe it or not. I opened the whole thing up and started stabbing him, and that's exactly what happened.
Was it like a bear hug?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had you wrapped up kind of in his arms then?
Kind of. Not all the way though. Like he started pushing towards me, and then.
But you were able to open it up.
I was.
And you had mentioned that you stabbed him a bunch of times in the stomach. Was that because you couldn't get up higher? Because he had you in a bear hug, or do you remember? Because there was a lot of stab wounds in his stomach.
Probably because I was like down, like when I went down to pick it up, he's a big guy, and I just started stabbing the first place that I could see, and he kept coming, and it didn't like seem to like it wasn't doing much to him. I mean, obviously it was killing him, but he was a strong man, so yeah.
At what point did he fall down, or did you push him down?
I really don't know. I don't know.
Well, at some point you must have been on top of him.
Maybe at the end, no, I don't know. I don't think. Oh yeah, and then I covered him with some blankets and stuff.
And you
Like
mentioned
at one point, he stopped pushing towards me, and then I stabbed him maybe 5 more times, and he said, "You're killing me."
was he still
And he
standing there?
stopped. Yeah. and then he was falling. And it's hard to remember, like the exact details, but it's just like.
How long did he live then after you stopped stabbing him?
I don't know, maybe. Oh man, maybe 5 minutes or so, maybe.
Quite a while then.
Yeah.
Because 5 minutes is quite a while if you're watching something like that.
Yeah. Maybe.
Was he
'Cause
talking?
The reason I think that's because that's when I think that I started smelling like feces and urine.
Oh, okay.
So I think that he was deceased at that point, but he may have died before that.
Okay. Did he say anything after he fell down?
No.
So he only just said, "You're killing me," when you were fighting with him.
Yeah.
Is that the only thing he said?
Yeah.
Never say anything else?
No.
So after you thought he was dead and you smelled urine and feces,
Yeah.
you stuck around for a while.
I did.
Okay. Why did you stick around?
Oh, I don't panic. I don't even know what was going through my mind. I can try to think of it and I don't even know. I was scared. Obviously, I was really scared. I think. Did they hear like a horn blast in the house that night? Do you know?
Who?
The people that were living in the house.
Why do you ask that?
I'm just wondering. I don't know. I don't know.
Where would the horn blast come from?
Like when I was driving away, I honked the horn in his car.
Oh, accidentally?
Yeah, I think accidentally, but maybe.
So you were in his trailer for a little while after it happened.
Yeah.
And I think you said you took his wallet and his ID and did you take anything else out of the trailer? Take some food with you?
Probably some granola bars.
Okay. Anything else? Cup, perhaps?
Not that I remember.
Okay, just food. Where did you find his car keys at?
In his pocket.
So you dug through his pockets and grabbed his wallet, grabbed his keys. Take any money?
There was some money in his wallet, but I don't know how much. It was like maybe $30 or something, 20, 30, $40.
Okay. Did you take anything out of the wallet and leave it there?
Not that I remember.
Okay. So you eventually left the trailer, and you must have gone back to the shop, correct?
Yeah.
There was some barbecue sauce and pickles and mustard, I think, and a bunch of other like condiments and some meat that it had been taken out of a freezer.
Mm-hmm.
It was staged in the shop.
It was what? Sorry.
Like it was staged. It was like set on the floor, like it was put there intending for someone to come back and get it later or something. Do you remember that kind of stuff?
Probably.
Can you picture that?
Yeah, probably.
That must have. I mean, assuming that must have come out of the trailer. Do you know?
I don't think so.
Would it have come from the shop?
Yeah.
Where did you find that stuff in the shop?
I don't remember, but I wouldn't have taken.
I'm going to show you a picture of that stuff too, so it might help you recall. This was in the shop.
There might have been a freezer somewhere.
Do you think there was a freezer in the shop? I mean, were you intending to maybe eat that there while you were staying in the shop, or you just don't remember?
I don't remember. I probably did eat some stuff in that shop or something.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
Is it possible that you brought that stuff from the trailer and like left it there while you were taking things out of the shop to leave?
I don't think I would have taken it from the camper to the car, to the camper. I mean, to the shop, and then take it out of the car.
It wouldn't make sense,
and
would
put
it?
it into the shop.
Yeah.
No.
No. It's likely you might have found this in the shop.
In the shop.
Yeah. So you did you back the car over to the shop to load it up, or were you carrying everything from the shop over to the car?
I think I pulled it over by the door, pulled the car over by the door.
And you took some tools, a welder, Dremel
Yeah.
tool, things like that,
Yeah.
and put it in
Car.
in the car or in the
Yeah,
trunk?
in the car.
In the
Oh,
passenger.
I'm not sure exactly where I put it. Probably.
Okay. And this
Both.
okay. This car this Bob's car that you
Yeah.
took, it was a red car,
Yeah,
and you had mentioned that it was a Chevy Impala.
that's my belief.
Okay, that's your belief. So, it's my belief it was a different kind of a car, but it was red. Okay. And if I showed you a picture of that, you think you'd remember?
Probably.
There's one. There's another.
With the tire.
Not yet.
Thunderbird?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it.
Let me show you. I'll show you a picture of the inside. Maybe the driver's compartment. Maybe that might spark a memory for you. It looks like it was a manual transmission. This is Bob's car.
I don't remember whether it was manual or automatic.
Okay. But it was definitely a red car.
Yep.
Okay. This is Bob's car that was taken from his property when you left. And you had mentioned on your way south, after you left Bob's house,
Yeah.
after this all had happened, you left Bob's property that night, like within hours after killing him, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And do you remember, I know it's going to be hard for you to recall, but do you remember what time of the day this happened between you and Bob? 'Cause it was summertime, so it was probably light until about 9 o'clock at night.
Then it's hard to estimate because it seems like sometime between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m.
So it was still light out then.
A little bit,
Okay.
I think.
And you'd mentioned when you drove down to Portland, you were headed down to Portland to do what? There's a couple
I was
options.
trying to go to Salt Lake. I was just trying to go
You head back home. Were you intending to drive the car back home?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
But you fell asleep
Hmm.
and you hit a barrier or something.
Just, yeah, those cement medians, like on the freeway.
Okay.
Barricade, or, just those center dividers. They're concrete.
Do you remember where that was?
It was, it had to have been in Portland
And why do you say that?
or on the outskirts, because soon after I pulled off the freeway into the park, and that turned out to be Burnside, Portland or something.
Okay. The car was found with a flat tire. It was actually the tire that was flat is actually the right front tire. That and it looked like it had some abrasions on it or something from hitting something hard, like maybe a cement barrier or something, barricade. Does that look familiar to you? That's the front right tire of the vehicle.
I can't remember. That doesn't look really familiar.
Okay. Did you ever get out and look at it, or just kind of realize that it was a flat tire and that it was kind of out of commission at that point?
Yeah, I looked at it a couple of times, but I don't remember the details about how it looked.
Okay. Well, the story that you told the other night to Detective Wilson actually was consistent with the condition of the vehicle. I mean, being 22 years ago, I can see why you would maybe mistake the front left tire from the front right tire.
I think I said the front right tire.
Actually, you said the front left. That's what made me go back and look at the photos.
I
But
was pretty sure I said front right.
okay, well, it is the front right. Yeah, that's correct.
Or, oh, wait. Front right, you mean on the driver's side or the passenger side?
Passenger side. That's the passenger side tire that was damaged. .
If so, that's weird. It didn't seem like that was the one.
Well, nonetheless, I mean, you knew that there was a flat tire. That's why you pulled off the freeway, and that's Bob's car, and that's the condition it was found in. So I mean, it's just a little hiccup. No, it's not that big of a deal, really, because I mean, you knew that the car was disabled.
Can I ask just a clarifying question? Back to Sue and Calvin. Sue was your friend's cousin. Calvin was the husband or boyfriend. How old were they?
I would say, oh, it's hard to, I don't know for sure. Maybe in their mid-20s.
Okay. And
To early 30s.
what did they do for a living that you remember job-wise?
I don't think they were employed.
Okay. Did they have an apartment? Did they have a house?
A house.
A house, and did they live in the city limits of down in Kelso somewhere, or outside of Kelso, or?
I'm not sure of the layout there, but I know out in like Kelso or Longview, right there.
Okay. Did they have any kids?
Yeah, they had a daughter.
Do you remember her name?
I don't.
Okay.
She's a cool kid though.
And how old was she at the time?
12.
12 years
Yeah.
old. Okay. Okay. That's all I have.
You pulled off the freeway, parked somewhere to park. You were told you couldn't stay there, so you drove the car over to. Did you drive or push the car?
I was trying to remember.
You ended up somewhere else.
Yeah. There's a guy that like stopped with the police officer there. Said he'd give me a hand. So I think he towed me to the gas station. And then I stayed with them for like the next 7 or so days.
But you left Bob's car in a big parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you removed all the stolen property that you took from Bob's house and took it with you with the other people.
Yeah.
Did you? There was a blue shirt that was left there at the scene. Do you remember if that was your blue shirt or could have been Bob's, or do you remember what you were wearing? If you took any clothes off, cleaned yourself up anywhere?
If I would have cleaned myself up, the clothes that I had on would have been bloody.
Mm-hmm.
So if they weren't bloody, then I don't know if I would have to look at them and see if they're like the ones that I had. Or
Do you remember stopping anywhere on the way to Portland, like at a rest area or anything to clean up, or because you had to have blood all over you?
I cleaned up when I got to those people's place. They took the bloody clothes and let me take a shower.
Okay. Did you tell them what you'd done?
Not specifically.
You said something about making up a story about something else.
Yeah, that something happened to my sister, and I had to take care of it. I thought that would be explanation enough.
Okay.
But I mean, they didn't,
You were in Kelso for probably, a couple weeks maybe?
Yeah.
So, what did you do for money while you were in Kelso?
I didn't have a job or anything. I had a little bit of money left.
Okay. All right.
Sue and Cal supported us with some food and stuff.
That's your cousin, and you were staying with them,
My friend.
or your friend, their cousin, this Randy Davis. Do you remember anybody in Kelso that you would have met and remembered? Anybody first and last name? Can you think of anybody you ran into that really sticks out in your mind, other than those folks? A bar, another house. Were you ever contacted by the police while you were in Kelso?
No.
Do you remember stealing anything while you were in Kelso, other than from Bob?
No.
Damaging any property?
No.
Assaulting anyone else?
No.
Or engaged in any fights or anything?
Using any what?
Engaged in any fights with anybody?
No.
What did you do for the 2 weeks?
Mostly got high.
Do you remember who you were getting your drugs from? Really not an issue for us now, but it
No.
was. Okay. Were you getting it from Sue and Cal? Did they offer you any?
Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Okay. Yeah, they're not any, nobody's in any trouble. I just trying to confirm a few things.
I mean, you've had a couple days to kind of think about this. I mean, obviously 22 years actually, but since you actually came forward and began talking about it, did you think of anything that you didn't tell the detectives the other night that you remember now? In other words, is there anything else that you feel is important that you haven't talked about yet?
No.
The knife that you stabbed Bob with,
Yeah.
you took it with you, you said,
Yeah.
and you had it with you until you were arrested in Portland. And you said the jail had it when they took property off of you at the jail, and you never got it back. Do you know what they did with it? Do you know if they just destroyed it, or if they asked you if they could destroy it, or if they gave it to someone else, or
They never said anything to me
you
about
just
it.
never heard anything about it? Okay. You were originally charged with possession of some kind of an illicit drug in Portland when you were arrested down there because you overdosed, I think, in a bar. I think you said.
That's correct.
So I'm just going to make an assumption here, and correct me if I'm wrong. So Bob's property that you had, you traded it or sold it or whatever. The drugs that you used that you overdosed on, was that purchased with the Bob's property that you sold? Because you probably didn't have any money then.
The way that it was working is I started trading his property for meth, and I was shooting meth to get high, and I started going out of my mind, and I started telling the people that I was with I couldn't live with what I did, and I have to kill myself, and can you get some heroin? Because I didn't really use heroin. I used mostly cocaine, but then I started doing meth when I went up there, and so I asked that lady if she could give me some heroin, and so she got me some heroin, and I went into the bar, and I was sitting there, and I ended up shooting up like 155 units of heroin. I had only maybe done heroin twice in my life or something, but so that's what happened.
And you were eventually taken to the hospital.
Yeah.
Do you remember which hospital you were at?
I don't.
Okay.
Do you remember which bar you were at? Do you remember the name of it?
I don't.
Was any landmarks around or anything that we would?
I don't
That's a
remember.
hard one,
Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember telling them I had to leave and that I had to die. And then I got the heroin from them and I left, and I found the very first place that I found was a bar, and I walked in there and they asked me for my ID, and I gave them my Orange Street Halfway House ID card and bought a pitcher of beer. Only took like a little drink out of it and then went into the bathroom and had this big spoon, and I mixed the heroin in there and drew up one syringe full and another one that was like 65 units full, and then I was sitting there like having a hard time doing it, like actually just going through with it. And then I heard somebody coming into the bathroom, and I just did it. Finally, like I'd probably sat there for maybe half an hour just trying to get up the nerve to actually just push it into my veins. And then that's when I did it. And this guy walked in, and I got that one whole big one in there, and the one that had like 95 units, and then the other one I probably got about, I don't know, 50 units or something, and then I was out, like just totally out cold. The next thing I remember, I was coming to on this stretcher, and that was that's all the last thing. I mean, that's what happened there.
So you went to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then you went from the hospital to the jail.
Yeah.
And they charged you with
Excuse me.
Do you remember what your charges were? I know one of them was drug
of-
possession
Yeah. And fugitive from justice.
from leaving here.
Yeah.
And what were you had just DFC warrant or something for using in that halfway house? Is that what the charge was? Do you remember?
I can't remember for sure.
You had another warrant from here though.
Mhm.
Okay. Then you spent almost a month, I think, in Multnomah County Jail, and then you were extradited over here directly from the jail. Does that sound right? Okay.
Yeah.
There was a note that you wrote that you said you wrote at Bob's house in the trailer,
Yeah.
and you said something about you wrote it, assuming that you were Bob, you wrote it that you were leaving
Pulling
or
over to somebody's house,
okay.
and the name was the name of somebody whose address and name was inside of his trailer.
Okay. And I mean, I think I know why you did that, but you put the note on there to
Just to make it look like somebody, so nobody would question like where he, like why
he's not answering the door.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you put that note at?
I think on the door.
Like on the outside of the door?
I think. I don't remember for sure, but I believe so.
Okay.
Did you sign it, Bob, or did you sign it somebody else's name?
I can't remember. I would imagine that I would send it Bob.
Did you say anything about a designated driver? Okay.
Not that I know. Can't remember.
You also said that while you were after you killed Bob, you were inside the trailer for a little while, and someone came and knocked on the door. Did you look out to see who it was?
Mm-hmm.
Did they say anything through the door? Like, is there anyone yelling like, "Bob, you in there?" Or
I think okay if that's how you want to be or something. I think.
and I think you told Detective Wilson that sounded like someone younger, that
Yeah.
like a kid maybe, or
Yeah.
and you were sure of that.
Pretty sure.
Did you see where they went after they left the trailer?
No.
Do you know if it might have been someone that lived at the house nearby, or?
That was my assumption, even though I didn't know one way or the other, because I didn't see him approach. I didn't hear
Hear a
I didn't
car
see
or
him
anything.
go. I didn't see him in any direction.
Do you know if they were alone?
It seemed like it.
Can you just give me a picture of that welder's cap that's in the hole?
Take a second, I'll find it.
The hammer, after you hit Bob in the face with it, or in the head with it, did you throw it down, or did it drop out of your hand, or during the struggle maybe did it?
I don't remember.
And a picture of the covered all of the pile.
Yeah, one quick question, when you broke in, did you do anything with broken glass? Would you have thought to do anything with it on the way in, just so that nobody would look like it's...
Maybe.
This is the inside of the trailer where the glass was broke.
Right.
And there was a welder's cap, so, yeah. And the only two things, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the only two things I could think of that might be for would be either to protect your hand while you're breaking it, if you happen to break it with your hand, or to just kind of plug the hole after the fact.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I really don't remember.
Okay. It's just kind of an unusual place for a welder's cap to be. I mean, you wouldn't, if you were living in the trailer, I can't imagine you would leave a welder's cap in that.
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense to me. So
No,
it almost looks like it was placed there by someone, which
Yeah.
would likely have been you.
I'd imagine. Yep, that would be my assumption.
Okay.
You remember where you maybe tried to stop the bleeding the most on your finger when it was bleeding? You remember if you used a rag or a glove or a shirt or your pants or...
I don't remember any of it. Not any of that, actually. I don't remember.
Which finger got cut? Your left?
Yeah, my left thumb.
Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
Did you stab mostly with your left or mostly with your right or both?
I think mostly with my right. I think it might have closed on my hand when I was trying to open it,
Okay.
because it was like in a struggle.
Okay. Section more
And this is a pretty significant incident in your life, which, I mean, you have some pretty clear recollection of. Do you remember, before you left the trailer, do you remember like looking on the floor and before you left, how you left the trailer?
I think I stacked blankets on him.
And you did that just to conceal him?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I was like,
Or were you...
I could think back and probably apply a number of different reasons. Some of them conscious, some of them unconscious. I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons.
Or maybe did you cover him so you didn't have to look at him dead, maybe?
That might have been something, yeah. I mean...
I have a picture of a hammer, the only hammer that was really there. You said it was a kind of a ball peen kind of a hammer, but the one that was present at the scene was a little bit different. You only saw one hammer. Did you see more than one hammer in the trailer, or was it just the one?
I don't remember whether there was more than one, but...
That's the hammer that was there. Does that look familiar?
I might have a wrong recollection of it.
Okay. Well, that was right next to Bob when he was discovered. So.
Could you have put some gloves on after the fact to work with the towels or the blankets or him, or could you have put some gloves on that maybe were inside the trailer that you found?
Maybe, but I don't remember. Like there being gloves.
Do you remember what? I know said you were a smoker back then. Do you remember what kind of cigarettes he used in the trailer?
I don't know if he smoked or not.
Do you remember any of the manuals or anything that were laying around?
I know there was a computer book.
Okay.
I remember a computer book, and I didn't even know that he smoked, and except I saw in the ashtray in that car, in the photo of his car, there were cigarette butts in there.
Do you remember a bunch of cigarette butts in the car when you were driving it?
I don't remember one way or the other.
Okay.
In that respect, but
You just say that because of the picture.
yeah.
So I'm going to show you a picture of the trailer when the police finally showed up at the trailer when the body was discovered. Can you tell me if this to your best recollection that this is the condition in which you left it?
Why would it matter? Like if I don't know.
Well, I'll explain why after I show you the picture. Okay, there's actually a reason why I'm asking this question. Okay, do you think you might recall it or not?
I don't know.
Because if you don't think, if you didn't ever, I mean, after you covered him up, you said you covered him up with a bunch of blankets, just stuff from inside the trailer there that was laying around, correct? So you covered him up. Could you have covered him up with some clothing too?
Probably.
Just a bunch of articles that were there at the time?
Probably.
Do you remember like a bright, like Afghan kind of a blanket at all?
There's the one that I saw in that other picture that's pink. Like I saw just a glimpse of one in that other picture. I wouldn't have remembered it.
Let me just show this to you. Does that look like perhaps the way you left it when you left the trailer?
Probably. I think so.
Who else did you tell about what happened?
Nobody ever, except for when I was on bath salt at Lone Peak.
What's Lone Peak?
It's one of the parts of the Utah State Prison.
And who did you tell there?
I think it was the FBI, like talking to them in my sleep, like I wasn't asleep or whatever, but investigators from somewhere, I know I had mentioned something and
Like you dreamt it or something?
no, even though I was probably somewhat hallucinating, it was still real and I'm very aware of how real it was.
Was there?
In prison? That was in prison?
Yeah,
And some investigators came to your cell or to the infirmary or?
I'm not quite sure where they were, but they're probably up in the rafters, or I mean, there's probably different parts that they can go to make observations of the prisoners. And I mean, this will sound weird or whatever, but so I think that they're asking me different questions and I was answering in weird ways that were probably, who knows what they appeared like, but
Has that ever happened to you before in the past?
where?
Anywhere?
Not quite like that. Maybe with the similar, like just questions and stuff, but
So you're saying kind of like you were hallucinating now?
mm-hmm.
Does that happen to you often? Or is that kind of the only time?
No, I mean, most of it has been drug related,
Okay.
and so it's not.
When you got booked into the Malone County Jail after you were in the hospital for the overdosing, and you got put in with whoever you were bunking with,
Mm-hmm.
did you tell anybody about this incident or even allude to it a little bit?
I think I told one. I think I might have told a couple of. I didn't say anything specific, but yeah,
Mentioned
I
Kelso?
alluded to it. I didn't mention Kelso. I don't think. Maybe I did. It's hard to remember.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Have you ever been?
I'm not sure.
Have you ever been taken to the taken into custody and taken to the hospital by the police?
That day, before they took me to Multnomah.
I mean, at any time in your life, not because of this issue, not because of your overdose, have you ever been contacted by the police and questioned and taken to the hospital for like a mental health evaluation?
No.
Okay. Who are you bunking with right now?
I can't even remember his name. I think his name's Jim. He introduced himself. Like today, I asked him what his name was, but I can't remember now.
Did you talk to him at all?
Not at length. I've mostly slept.
Okay.
And he slept.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I'm just gonna tell you right now that I'm gonna go talk to him. So, did you say anything to him about why you're in there?
No.
Okay. Did he ask you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Anything else? Do you have any questions for us?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'd be willing to answer your questions for you if you have any.
You'll get extradited to Washington, back to our jail, and if you want to reach out to us at any point, and talk to us, you just tell one of the corrections officers there that you want to talk to the Kelso detectives.
All right.
We'll come. They'll get a message to us, and we'll come talk to you.
All right.
We're going to end up coming out and picking you up. Well, maybe not us, but someone will probably the next week or two.
All right.
Yeah, just depends on whether or not you fight the extradition or not, and that's not anything we even care about, but that's up to you. Can I ask, if we can go back to what made you walk in the door this weekend and tell somebody this and write that note? Can you mind if I ask you why you did that?
Yeah, it's been a long time in coming. But yeah, something I've been running from forever. Yeah, I don't know. It's nothing. It's not my doing.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
I mean, are you trying to do the right thing, or do you think like you've been forced to come in
Trying
here? Or?
to do the right thing, but having a lot of difficulty for a long time. So.
Yeah.
Were you ever forced to come in here and talk about it? By anybody?
No.
So you came in here voluntarily on your own volition.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get any tattoos while you were in Kelso?
I didn't.
Didn't. We have some tattoo people up there. Had you ever been to Kelso before that 2-week period? Had you ever been there before?
I hadn't.
Have you ever been back since?
I haven't.
Had you ever been in the trailer before the day you went in and got confronted by him?
No.
Did you know him at all before
I didn't.
this incident?
I didn't.
And the reason I ask is his driver's license says Robert Boucher. You keep referring to him as Bob. And I'm just wondering if you've come to that because most Roberts go by Bob. Is that why you've done that, or?
No, I think that his license says Bob.
Okay, and you said you got rid of that license. How did you get rid of that license?
Inside of a windowsill of a vehicle that the guy was letting me stay at his house.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of car that was?
It was one of those vans that have like a bed. They're like a flat nose van, like a older, kind of like they're kind of unique. I don't know what the terminology used to describe them is, but
Like a Volkswagen van?
kind of. But like a Volkswagen van, but with a truck bed instead of a.
And you don't remember their names?
I don't.
How old are they?
They're probably. I think the guy was maybe 4 or 5 years older than me, and the woman was probably 15 years older than, or 10 years older than me, or 15 years older than me.
Do they have kids?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Had you ever been in the car before the time you took it?
No.
Had never been in there.
Okay.
Do you remember anything that happened to the license plate to the front of that car?
I don't.
Okay.
No questions for us?
No.
Brandon, I really appreciate you talking to us. It does answer a lot of questions about peripheral things that we thought were related to this that may or may not have been at this point. So, but it is helpful, and I appreciate your willingness to come over here.
Can we get a picture, just your face shot before we leave?
Sure.
And just to let you know too, when we get back to the jail, we'll probably get some fingerprints from you too.
All right.
Just to let you know ahead of time. Do you want to come over with me then? When we turn, because then we'll need to chat with somebody over there real quick and then.
Sure.
Are you still drinking that? Okay. I don't know if they'll let you take the water back into the jail or not, so. Would you like to drink that too?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. let's go hang out for just a second here. We're going to make sure that Detective Wilson's ready to help us out and get you back over to the jail. And we'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, Brandon.
Ready?
Do you want another sip of water or anything before we go?
No, I'm good, thank you.